According to Gary Black, Tesla could be concealing a huge secret. In 2024, this secret could be revealed. Now, what could this... According to Gary Black, Tesla has a big secret that is coming in 2024. Now, this in and of itself could push Tesla stock to $600, $700, $800 per share. Now, here in this video, we're going to go over some of the biggest catalysts you need to be watching for on the near-term horizon. These are things we kind of know are coming, but we don't know when they're coming. Odds are at some point in 2024, we get all of these catalysts, and that will be positive for Tesla stock. Now, in the near term, it looks like Tesla wants to break out to the upside. You are coiling, making higher lows. What does this mean? What did we see on Friday that has me very excited about Tesla stock? We have a lot to get into in a very short amount of time. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to help push this video out to as many people as possible, consider sharing this as well. I think this is one a lot of people could benefit from hearing, because I'll tell you right now, I'm not afraid to share my opinions. Whether I'm right or wrong, they're my opinions, and I will not hide them in fear of being judged, being right, or being wrong. So before we go over this big secret for Tesla stock that is coming in 2024, according to Gary Black, and I believe as well, in the near term, Tesla is doing something fascinating. So Tesla usually doesn't trade range bound for that long. If you look at the chart just over time, not too many times is Tesla so range bound, within $10 or so for the last 2 weeks or so. But what's happening is you're firmly in an uptrend. Specifically over the past couple of weeks, really about a month or so, Tesla has been in between 230 and 240 a vast majority of the time. You were above 240 for some periods, right? You broke out to 252 back here on November 29th. But what you will notice is over the past 6 days in particular, you have been trading upwards almost every single day. The low that you've seen on December 1st, 6 trading days ago, was about $230 per share. Found a lot of support at this level. You have been finding a lot of support at this level. And almost every single day, your low intraday is higher. So you're creating a higher low. Now, what you've seen on Friday, well, it's the first time this has happened in over a month. You closed above your 100-day moving average. So Tesla stock closed at $243.31 Friday in after hours. The 100-day moving average is at $242.93 per share. This is a huge moment for Tesla stock, for a likely upside move from here. Because your 100-day moving average, your 50-day moving average, your 200-day moving average, those are the major averages that your markets trade around, whether they are algorithms or whether they are hedge funds or institutions or retail investors. It's a very good sign if you can hold above one of those moving averages. And now you're above all of them. You're above your 200-day, your 50-day, and your 100-day moving average. This likely sets us up for an upside move higher from here. But wait, why? Fundamentally, why? What's going on with Tesla right now? It has nothing to do with this big secret for 2024 that Tesla is holding on to. It has nothing to do with any of the potential catalyst in 2024. It has to do with fundamentally, this rally makes sense in Tesla. Tesla should probably be over $300 per share. Fundamentally, that is. Because why? Well, even take a look at the data that we got on Friday. The non-farm payroll report came in at 199,000 jobs. The expectation was 180,000 jobs. 180,000 jobs. Oh my gosh. 2022, the markets would have sold off if we had a larger jobs report than what we were expecting. But That's when inflation was 6, 7, 8, 9%. Inflation is now in the threes. So you want to see the economy hold up here. If the economy were getting, dramatically worse, well, you're probably not going to have a soft landing. You're probably heading into a recession at this point. The fact that the economy is holding up for interest rate sensitive names, for economically sensitive names like Tesla is both, that's great news because we're still pricing in about 5 rate cuts for 2024. But the data on Friday shows we're probably not heading into a recession. Unemployment actually fell from 3.9% to 3.7%. This is Goldilocks for Tesla stock. The only thing that I find reasonable in any of the bearish arguments that I hear on Tesla is that we're going into a recession next year. If that's the case, then Tesla could fall next year or maybe not do as well as I suspect. But as we get more data that pushes back on that narrative, it supports Tesla stock going dramatically higher, not a little higher, dramatically higher. That's because if we get 5 rate cuts next year, could be more than that. If the economy does start to downturn, Tesla will be able to raise prices likely and lower people's monthly payments for new buyers, that is. So Tesla could raise prices and the consumer could benefit from lower payments per month. And that's what Elon made very clear on the last earnings call. And the earnings call before that, it's all about the monthly payment. People don't care if they're financing a $100,000 vehicle if it costs $500 a month, or if they're financing a $30,000 vehicle that costs $500 a month. The only thing that matters is that monthly payment, whether or not you can comfortably make that payment. So what we're seeing is really steps in the right direction for Tesla, and it's not what a lot of the bears have expected this entire time. Now, what you're also seeing with the short position, well, that's going to get pretty interesting towards the end of this year as well, in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so in December. It continues to be by far the most heavily shorted stock in our markets, $21.68 billion worth of short positions. Odds are, if you're any reasonable investor, what I'm saying makes sense. The only bear thesis on Tesla is we get a recession next year. Without a recession, Tesla is going to do great. The Cybertruck halo effect is likely. Any positive upside catalyst, we'll talk about them in just a minute, well, that's just icing on top, the cherry on the sundae, if you will. Fundamentally, rates going lower, avoiding a recession is all you really need for Tesla to beat the earnings estimates, let alone if they start raising prices big time. That's not an ideal situation to be heading into 2024, being heavily short. Like right now, you have the largest short position on Tesla you have seen in a very long time. This could help fuel some of that upside momentum as we get deeper into December, ultimately into January and February. I do think it is worth noting that we still have 2 major catalysts coming next week. That is the CPI report on Tuesday. That's going to give us a lot more confirmation whether we're actually heading into a recession or soft landing. If inflation falls more than expected, that's going to be great news. Exactly what you want to see as a Tesla stock investor. That's when the situation really becomes Goldilocks. Like the best possible outcome is actually happening. We need confirmation from CPI. On Wednesday, the following day, we're going to get the Fed meeting, right? So we're going to get Fed Jerome Powell that gets up there on his podium, that gives us a speech. It's widely expected the Fed's just going to pause. They're not going to raise rates. They're not going to cut rates in December, in January, in March. We're pricing in the possibility of a rate cut. It's pretty close right now between a rate cut in March and a continued pause through March, and then your first rate cut in May. So we'll obviously have to wait and see what Powell says on Wednesday as well, but I'm not expecting anything overly bearish from Powell. The last thing he wants to do with his legacy is be overly hawkish, overly aggressive on his rhetoric when he's achieving exactly what he wants to achieve. Inflation's coming down, labor market is holding up. So if inflation comes out low next Tuesday and the Fed is dovish or more dovish as I'm expecting they will be, then next week could be very exciting, especially Thursday and Friday. You could start to see a euphoric rally for stocks. And Tesla, I would imagine, would be one of the biggest beneficiaries of some kind of euphoric market rally. Now, Gary Black put out this fascinating post, if you will, on X. He added another upside catalyst. The way he is wording this is interesting. It's exactly what I've said here on this channel for the last couple of weeks now, especially over the last week or so. Let me read these. So, Gary Black says, these are the biggest Tesla upside opportunities. I've updated this from yesterday's post to include number 4 below. Number 1, Tesla not resorting to cutting prices as we end Q4. That increases my conviction that auto gross margins have bottomed. Number 2, the halo effect from huge Cybertruck interest, reminiscent of 2020's Model Y intro. This should translate to increased U.S. order flow for Model 3, Model Y, S, and X. Number 3, $7,500 EV tax credit will go off invoice on January 1st. We kind of know about all of these 3 catalysts already. It's the 4th one that could give you Tesla stock at $600, $700, $800 per share in 2024. Like fundamentally, this could be the biggest game changer to Tesla that you have seen since the Model Y came out in 2020 on March 13th, by the way, when the markets were crashing at the time. The 4th catalyst, which I think is, again, by far the biggest, the $25,000 next-gen vehicle will likely roll out quicker than Tesla has indicated, likely late 2024 as Shanghai, Berlin, and Austin are all synchronizing production launch. This will expand Tesla's TAM, total addressable market, to the mass segments. Tesla is keeping this quiet to avoid Osborne of the Model 3. So basically, Tesla is not going to announce this until they announce it, because they don't want the Highland to be sabotaged by people waiting for the Model 2. That's an interesting take on this. We just heard from Elon like 3-4 days ago. I made a video on this. That it was the interview from Monroe or Madro. He said he was interviewing Elon, and Elon said that they're not going to wait for Giga Mexico to be done to do the Model 2, this $25,000 vehicle, that they're actually going to start that in Texas and then likely in Shanghai as well as Europe. And right now we're expecting that factory is going to be done in 2026. It seems like we're probably going to get an announcement for the Model 2 at some point in 2024. It could be mid to late 2024. And by then, I expect Tesla is already going to be approaching, if not above, all-time highs. As again, the recession does not play out. As we do see things going good for Tesla. Tesla beating estimates. The estimates are not high at this point, so I don't think it's very hard to do. Now, I will point out, as per my calculations for Tesla, if Tesla can really sell 5 million Model 2s like they think they will, it's going to take a while to get there. It's going to take a couple of years to get there at the bare minimum, right? You probably need to see Mexico online. We're seeing expansions to other gigafactories right now. So it's very uncertain when Tesla would get to 5 million vehicles. But if Tesla can get to 5 million Model 2s with 20% margins, selling these vehicles for $25,000, that's going to add about $7.51 to Tesla's EPS. I imagine with the Cybertruck, with the Model 3, the Model Y, the S, and the X, well, that could do another about $7.50 to EPS, maybe more. That would put Tesla stock doing about $15 of EPS for full year, probably 2027 or 2028. And if we times that by roughly the current multiple of about 65, that would put Tesla stock at about $975. Now, I think this could be conservative. You could obviously adjust the EPS. You could adjust the multiple. I think you would want to go higher rather than lower in this regard by 2028, 2027. There's no telling how far we're going to be in robotics or FSD. If we're going to have a licensing deal or energy storage, what's going to come from that. This is just looking at the auto business, guys. Like, just the auto business. We're not talking about anything else here. $975. Now, Wall Street is a forward-looking instrument. So as rates go higher, Wall Street doesn't like to look out at growth companies and what they could be down the line, because they would be sacrificing, in this case right now, 5% guaranteed risk-free for the next, 5 years, if you want to lock that into a 5-year treasury. But as rates go lower, markets will start to say, hey, if the Model 2 could add $7.50 to Tesla's EPS or so by 2027 or 2028, when Tesla can scale to 5 million vehicles. That could add about $487 or so to Tesla's valuation per share. How much of that gets priced in beforehand? Half? 25%? It's hard to say. That could add hundreds of dollars to Tesla stock. In theory, if half of this got added as kind of a added valuation at about $240, you could see Tesla at $727.50 or so next year or early 2025. Based on these calculations, it's very possible. That's not including other catalysts like FSD heading to China this December, like this month or next month. This is not including Tesla just beating numbers. This is really not including any other segments of Tesla's business. So I think the secret is a big one, and I think it's going to do great things for Tesla stock. Let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. Hit that like button as well as subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to come trade with us live in real time as well, link down below in the description of this video. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.